Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game! When we last left off, we beat this game! Again! But oh boy, we got a long ways to go before we're actually finished with this game. The good news is we got Bryce's good ending. He is here on the title screen, a notably less nighty title screen. Which means we should have him unlocked in the gallery now. Yep, we got a pin-up right here. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's not a pin-up. It's investigation scene. Him investigating one of the murders. That's pretty cool. I also noticed an option up here that somehow I didn't notice before. Comics? Was this option always here? Oh, it opens a website to... I think this website that it just opened is the... Oh, prequel comic to the game. Angels with Broken Hearts. Gonna have to read that sometime. I don't know if I want to do that now, though, or whether I want to finish playing the game first. Well, I'll save it for later. Hello there, GeoCatBoy. Welcome to the stream. Okay, recap time. Cause, oh boy, even though we got Bryce's good ending, it was immediately followed by another bad ending. Turns out that time-traveling administrator is the one responsible for all the murders on my second run. Her goal was to do all the same murders that Reza would have, because she wants to ensure that we all see Reza as the bad guy. Apparently, the administrator thinks that Reza is some unredeemable prick, or something like that. Unfortunately, when Maverick heard this, Maverick went on the attack and killed the administrator, which is unfortunate because the administrator is kind of key to figuring out this whole situation with the meteor that is coming along to destroy everybody. To make matters worse, in an effort to save the administrator, I shot and killed Maverick. I really didn't want to kill Maverick. Made things even worse when I saw Bryce crying over his killed friend. So, with things going to hell and the administrator dead, it is now up to me to try to do everything. So I have taken the administrator's disguise and gone back in time. I think I'm taking the disguise in order to help remind myself what's going on, because somehow going back in time is going to result in me losing my memory, which is actually kind of a scary proposition. Like, seriously, imagine losing your memory of everything that has happened for the past couple weeks. Like, those past couple weeks could have been the best 2 weeks of your life, but suddenly those memories gone. You are kind of yourself, but the you that just experienced the past 2 weeks is effectively dead, gone forever, possibly never to be recovered, never to have ever existed. It's like they never existed, and you're just living the results of some other person's life. What makes it especially scary for me personally is I've actually experienced memory loss. It was a long time ago when I was a kid. I was at a birthday party, and to my understanding, I tripped over a stool and bashed my head on a kitchen chair. Next thing I knew, I was waking up to the sound of somebody crying. And at first I thought it was my little sister crying, but as I woke up some more, I realized, wait a sec, I'm crying. Why am I crying? And then I remembered that I was at a birthday party, but that didn't explain why I was crying. It's not my party. I couldn't cry if I wanted to. And my family told me what happened. They told me that I bashed my head against the chair. Of course, I didn't remember that. I figured, well, maybe I fainted or something. It was a very confusing situation. It wasn't until years later that I was finally able to realize just how scary the situation actually was, that I actually hit my head hard enough to lose my memory, even if only, I don't know how much memory, maybe a minute? That is a situation that could have been way, way worse than it turned out, especially with my family unaware of just how hard I hurt myself. As far as I could tell, I was just a kid crying because she got hurt. Because that's what kids do when they got hurt. But no, to this day, I still don't remember hitting my head on that chair. But back to the game. The silver lining to this whole going back in time and forgetting everything situation is these time travel shenanigans have been proven to leach over into each timeline, and eventually I'm going to have my memories returned to me. So at least there's that. With that said, what am I going to do for this run? I'm going to hang out with Lorem again. We're going to do another Lorem run. I'm a little bummed that despite my efforts to get a good Lorem ending during my first run, you can't. So I gotta hang out with Lorem all 5 days all over again. Hopefully this time it'll result in a good ending, especially now that I know not hanging out with him will result in him dying somewhere along the way. I assume because he went on that scavenger hunt by himself and wound up drowning. So yeah, gonna work towards that good ending with Lorem. Additionally, during my second run, I learned that Vera, the pink dragon girl, wound up killing herself because her mother died. So I'm also going to make a point to try to locate and hang out with Vera. So with that in mind, let's get started. Continue your journey, Erika. Yeah, this is definitely a new chapter 1 right here. Duty. So we're once again skipping the opening when I arrived, and back in the first day. Out of curiosity, let me check my status. I do not have the disguise that the administrator had. I know I took the disguise back in time with me. Does this mean that I'm currently taking the place of the administrator? And by that I mean the me of the second run is out there pretending to be the administrator while I'm back at square one as my original self? I do not like the idea of me going around and repeating Ray's murderous actions from the first run. Although at the very least, it's not me that's going to be doing it. Time travel is kind of confusing sometimes. I was kind of hoping the time travel shenanigans of this game would be kept kind of simple. Well, I'm trying to keep track of everything that's going on. Hopefully things will not get any more complicated than they have already. Anyway, I awoke from uneasy dreams looking for... Oh, by the way, hi Lit, welcome to the stream. I awoke from uneasy dreams looking at an unfamiliar ceiling. Just for a moment, I wondered where I was before the events of last night, as in when I first arrived, all came back to me. That first night when we met Remy and when we were brought to my apartment of temporariness. After a good stretch, I looked around the room illuminated by the sunlight coming in from the window. Outside in the distance, the portal I had emerged from proudly stood on the peak of a small hill. I'm just going to continue reading this until the game tells me I don't have to. Getting ready, I noticed something lying on the table. It was the note Remy had left for me in case I needed anything, along with his own home phone number and work number. There were also some numbers for delivery of food and other necessities, as well as emergency and even janitorial services. He had certainly thought of everything, even though I now had to wonder what a dragon plumber might look like. I don't know that I ever get the opportunity to find out. Hello there, Beer Force. Welcome to the stream. My musings were interrupted when the doorbell rang. It was Beer Force. No, really. When I opened the door, I was met with another dragon. That would be Sebastian. It looks like you've seen this before. Skip to the character selection. I am given the opportunity to skip the scene with Sebastian. I don't think I was given that option the first time. I guess because my second run I kissed his hand, which led to me being able to ensure Sebastian does not die. So let's go ahead and skip ahead then. And, well, let me save first. See how far I skip ahead. Before says, I think Sebastian should be safe now. I'm counting on it because I don't see it being possible to save everybody all in the same run. Bryce led me back to the apartment. I guess there wasn't really much for me to do in the meantime, as I was spared the more arduous parts of the investigation. Okay, there was quite a time skip there. So, let me think here. Meet Sebastian, kiss his hand. We meet with Reza. Reza tells me that something is up. We also meet Reza's bodyguard. That would be Maverick. We head to the restaurant where we first meet Adine. I try the food that I do not like. And Reza tells me he's going to send me a message. Then he sends me a secret message. I'm pretty sure that has already happened at this point. Oh, on the way home from the restaurant is when I first meet Vera. Kinda, sorta. She just sort of runs past me. I get home. I think that is when I meet Lorem for the first time. He delivers the letter from Reza. I use the lemon juice to figure out what the message is, because it's a secret message. I get the message, and it tells me to meet Reza at the portal at night. So I go there. Reza is about to tell me that the world's about to end, but then Maverick interrupts us, and Reza panics and shoots Maverick. If there's any defense I can give the time-traveling administrator for trying to ensure Reza still looks like the bad guy, it is because Reza still is kind of a prick towards Maverick by shooting him. Let's see, the next day, I can't remember what happened the next day, the order of events. Is this immediately after the investigation of the shooting? Or have we reached the first murder yet? I can't remember if the first murder happens at this point or not. Let's move on and see what happens. Okay, this was the night. This was the day where we had the option of meeting with Sebastian. But of course, we're gonna hang with Lorem. I went to the bar Lorem had suggested as our meeting place. When I looked around, I saw Bryce sitting at a table, talking to someone I couldn't see. I would assume that's the waiter, if I had to guess. Not sure, though. I lingered on him for a second, but soon spotted Lorem in the corner of my eye. Hi, Lorem! I am going to make sure you do not die this time. Beerforce says, I think you already did the first murder investigation. Before says, you can skip. It won't let you skip past good ending options. That would explain why this time I was allowed to skip meeting with Sebastian for the first time, where I kiss his hand. There you are. Hey, Lorem. And we've seen this scene pretty recently. Let's see here. This scene, he talks about how he's making a game. We also talk about mythical human situations of how there's like the living and the angel-type humans. And I agreed to meet him at his house sometime to help him with his game some more. As for the murder investigation, we went to some house. Where a wyvern pterodactyl dragon was killed. I helped figure out the situation where the murder was done with a knife, and the pterodactyl person bit Reza with his teeth, injuring Reza, or alternatively injuring the administrator, if this is a run where the administrator is trying to keep the timeline the same by framing Reza for actions he did in the first run. Hopefully it's not future me who is doing the murdering now. I guess we'll find out eventually. Don't worry about it, I'll just consider it a public service. If I hit the back button, that just brings me back to the options where I skipped ahead. Well, I would like to know what I'm responding to here, but I'm responding to something. Don't worry about it. I'll just consider it a public service. Honestly, I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity, especially after nearly getting denied by Sebastian when I met you. Just make the best of it. I certainly will. I really have to get going now, so maybe I'll see you some other time. Sure, have a good night. Take care. More free time. What do I want to do here? Trying to think if meeting with anybody else will help me achieve my goals for this run. But I don't think so. Before says you could start working on one of the other dragons. There's no point though. I'm going to be focusing on Lorem this run, and on occasion I'm certain I'm going to be hanging out with somebody other than the main five, correct? Yeah, someone other than the main five, such as Vera, which means I'm not going to get a good ending with any of the other dragons, so there's no reason to work on the other dragons. So I'm going to get some rest for now. In the end, I decided to spend the day relaxing in my apartment. I didn't know when things would start to pick up again, so I figured it would be better to get some rest as long as I still could. And just like that, already in Chapter 2. Which is still hope. Looks like you've seen this before. Skip to the scene selection. Let me save. Offhand, I can't remember what the scene selection for this instance is. But maybe I'll remind myself. Oh, okay, I reminded myself. So, another murder, this time with a generator stolen. We went looking to figure out why the power was out. That's when we learned the generator was stolen. A light almost landed on me and killed me. Apparently, it did kill me in some other timelines, but the administrator has been messing with time and Groundhog Daying everything up, so this time the administrator knew to save me. And left a note in my pocket saying to go to a place. Which I will want to go to, actually. It was a relief to leave the crime scene, considering all that had happened. When I reached into my pocket to take a look at the list, however, I found something unexpected. I was given a list of locations to check out, where Reza had previously been seen, and see if I can get some information. In regards to working on the other dragons, Beerforce says, that way you can skip them later. You get info required for Anna's good ending on Remy's second date, I think. And I think you need to work on Adine a bit to get Remy's. So I recommend going Lorem, Adine, Remy, and finally Anna. I'm just gonna copy and paste your tips into my notes for the future. Okay. Well, I've already saved past that point, so... let's just keep going. So, found something unexpected. It was a small piece of paper with the word Tatsu written on it. How did it get there? My earlier encounter with a masked person was the only time today someone was close enough to smuggle something into my pocket. I figured if someone like Bryce tried to do something like that, I definitely would have noticed. As for Tatsu, the only related thing I could think of was Tatsu Park, which had come across when I went to the police station the other day, which I had come across. Even if that park was the place the mysterious paper referred to, I didn't know if it was actually a good idea to visit. The masked person may have saved me from the falling light fixture, but if it was Reza, it would mean following someone who is also the prime suspect of 2 murders. I also had to consider the list of places Reza had been to. A local grocery store, the production facility we had visited, and the library were the 3 places closest to here. It certainly was going to be a busy day, and I knew I wouldn't have the time to visit all of them. Okay, I still want to visit Tatsu Park, because in order to get Lorem's good ending, I need the Ixoman Spear, which I technically already have, so I might not actually need to do it. But visiting Tatsu Park also resulted in me finding a bloodied up bandage. At the same time, I think visiting this grocery store will be kind of important for helping Vera, the pink dragon. So those are the 2 places I'm going to visit on this run. Let's start with Tatsu Park. Tatsu Park, here I am. I don't know what I'm even looking for, though. Okay, I believe we want to look at the map. Park is bigger than I thought. I could go north towards Tatsu Avenue, which apparently is a nice spot to look at the landscape, or south to the political district. Where should I go? Tatsu Avenue. Before says, I think you already have the spear and the base. I think he assembles it on the 4th date, and you need to bring it with you to the fireworks with Lorem. Alright. Also, Beer Force says, I'll be here to help make sure you get the good endings. I definitely appreciate that. To anybody wondering about how Beer Force has been giving me tips throughout this adventure, especially during the second run, I am definitely open to those tips. As long as I'm not getting any spoilers, I am definitely welcoming the tips, because I do want to make sure I get these good endings. Before says the sphere was found by searching the pavilion 3 times. Sure wasn't in, like, the fallen leaves? I don't recognize the species of the tree. Okay, let's open the hatch. On the middle covering of the hatch, there are 2 buttons which are situated to the left and the right of the central circular lever. The arrows on the lever is pointing up. Okay, we're going to push the buttons. And I'm just going to keep turning the lever clockwise. It's pointing right, pointing down, pointing left. There we go. I don't know how I was supposed to figure this out. Or maybe if there isn't really anything special to this, you just have to press the buttons and have it point to the left. I looked down to see the maintenance tunnels for the underground drain system. A pale object starkly contrasted against a pitch-black backdrop. It's a cloth with the suspicious red markings all over it. I guess that's all to be found down here. I can't remember what this cloth actually is. Or if I even ever knew. Perhaps it was the bloodied bandage of whoever murdered the second victim? That's my only guess. I'll also do the resting on the bench. Finally a place to sit down. View the scenery is perfect. That was nice. I was just about to get up when I noticed someone sitting next to me. Oh, I didn't see you there. I thought you were a statue or something. Who is this? Don't actually tell me. I'm just wondering aloud. Who is this? Is this someone important? Will I be able to meet with this person at some other point in the game? That much I want to know. Hello? Well, maybe it is a statue. Or it's just turned invisible. I hope it's not the latter. Search the pavilion. Look harder this time. Doesn't seem to be anything important here, but at least it provides excellent shade. No, nothing here. Search the pavilion again. Doesn't seem to be anything important here. Nope. Let's check the shrubbery. Yeah, this totally won't look strange or suspicious. Here we go. I found some dirt. But there doesn't seem to be anything else here. Beaver says, yep, still have the spear. I was wondering, because I acted like I was searching the pavilion again, even though that was technically the first time. Let me go also to the political district. I don't know whether meeting Emira is actually important or not. Oh right, we also met this dragon. No idea who this is supposed to be either. You okay? Besides being a little dirty, I think so. Should we look where they're going? Think you dropped this? Thank you. Ghost stories. Yep. I should be probably go before the bookstore closes. I wonder if that means that I should be going to the library from here. I'm gonna make note of that possibility. Someone sitting on the benches. We approach the dragon and we discover Emera. I keep having to check my notes because I suck at remembering names. Pleasant surprise. I do know you are. What do you bring? What brings you here? Don't know. Just kind of hanging out. Emera created some of the park. Mainly the building, or not the building, didn't create the building, just works there. So did you seriously have this park built just so you can enjoy your breaks outside? I'm also gonna have to remember to come here after meeting with Remy on the first day. Making fun of Remy's ears. I noticed that I'm not being asked if I want to skip any of these scenes. I wonder if I want to try choosing a different option than before. Haven't noticed. That's not very nice. I don't know. Have to admit they are pretty funny. Right? Now just imagine what it must be like working with him. He's always running back and forth on my command like some sort of well-trained, ugly, yappy dog. They were dogs 65 million years ago? Can I ask you a question? You can ask what you don't want to know. What do you think about us visiting the world? Most exciting thing ever! Work is normally boring. Emera's been helping out with the whole arrangement. Maddie's suggesting that dragons probably have some knowledge of dogs from humans and all. Asked about the job. Too much to tell and it's boring. And the task of actually becoming minister is also kind of boring. Tell me more about Tatsu Park. Not much to say about it. Opened recently. Dedicated to our so-called creator. Oh boy. If they only knew what their creator was doing on the second run. That's all. Bye-bye. Gave a pleasant conversation. You know, if you wanted to continue talking at a later time, you should have no difficulty contacting me. I'll keep that in mind. I don't remember that being an option. Did I trigger something good by agreeing that Remy's ears are funny? Well, it was definitely worth coming here, and I was right about the situation with, the game not asking me if I want to skip the cutscene. Might as well read the sign again. This park is dedicated to our creator, to whom we owe our sentience and existence. As it is our duty to remember, this place honors them every day with its beauty and grants a place of recreation and contemplation to all of us. For what it's worth, sentience and existence is pretty nice, and I would be very thankful, especially having sapience. So before says I can have a one-off date with Emera now. Well, we're gonna definitely do that. Okay, let's visit the grocery store. Enter the store, sound of a bell alerting the staff to my arrival. Seeing the patrons browsing the shelves, neatly stocked with wares of all kinds, evoked some feelings of nostalgia and normalcy in me. This must be the stores Reza's been shopping at. Who's he talking to? Hey, I think I've seen her before. You know, the store clerk looks an awful lot like the waiter. And also, the waiter is... Who is the waiter? I wrote his name down. Zong. Is this also Zong? I'm sorry, but this prescription has expired. I can't fill it like this. You'll need to tell your parents to visit the doctor so he can write you a new one. Once again, the game is not asking me if I want to skip this scene. She turned around, nearly running into me when she suddenly bolted towards the door. Hello, Erika. How can I help you? You know who I am? How could I not? Everyone knows about you. Kind of like it. A first date night with Bryce. We met this guy. I wonder if this scene would play out a little differently if I came here after meeting him as a waiter. Anyway, how can I help you? Who was that? You mean the girl? That's Vera. She comes here occasionally to pick up her mother's prescription. Do you remember Reza coming here? Of course I do. It's only been a few days since he was last here. This will sound a little unusual, but can you tell me what he bought? Are you just talking about last night, or every time he came here? Both, I suppose. He came here more than once? He's been visiting pretty regularly, now that I think about it. Interesting. I can look up his purchases if you like. That would be really helpful. Shouldn't be too hard, just give me a second. Had I realized this was the same person, I would have actually gone to hang out with Bryce again that first day. I watched him carefully navigate the register's buttons, soon followed by the sound of the attached printer. Here you go, receipts from all his purchases. Well, that was easy. Since our government takes care of all his purchases, they're filed separately. It was simple to pull them up. Looks like he bought mostly food and snacks, sometimes magazines. But why was he buying lemons every single time? Before says, maybe on the next run, you can redo the first Bryce date on one of your first days and visit here after. I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Let me make a note of doing that. can't say that I didn't notice, but I figured it was just a human thing. Strange. In any case, that was more information than I expected. You have my thanks. You're welcome. Might as well go ahead and browse. Let me know if you need anything. What am I even looking for? Everything. Surprisingly big selection of bread, since when do dragons eat bread? At least uncovered in case I want any melon bread. Ophinia. Hey, you! I forgot about this dragon. Are you talking to me? Yes. What do you say, melon or lemon bread? I mean, the only difference between the two is like one letter, so how am I supposed to choose? I don't think that's how it works. Why don't you just go with the one you think you'll like more? That's a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? Was that a cardboard box on her head? I feel like that dragon might be important too. I mean, seriously, those gloves and the box on her head, there's gotta be something about that dragon. Who'd have thought that dragons are bigger in produce? Don't even recognize some of these. Look at the meat. Meat, of course, lots and lots of meat. Fresh meat, smoked meat, cured meat, dried meat, etc., etc. That's not even all of it. Needless to say, they have the area covered. Look at health aisle. Everything from food supplements to skincare and even birth control. Variance in product sizes is astounding, especially when talking about the birth control. B4 says Ophinia is Sapphire Crook's backer dragon. I watched their playthrough as well as videos of translating the game into Dutch. Alright, somebody got their character into the game then. That's all I can do here. I didn't really notice any options that I could have done differently. So I really wonder what's important about that place that I have not accomplished yet. Afternoon sun hung low in the sky, and I decided it was time to report my findings to the police. A brief call to the department, and I was on my way to an appointment with Sebastian. I have the option of skipping this scene here. We've already delivered the bloodied rag before, as well as the notes of the receipts. And I think that's all that happened. Although there is another murder situation. I can't remember what murder happens next. What murder was happening next? It was not the hatchery yet. Or was it? I don't think it was. I might choose to not skip ahead just so I have a reminder of what goes on at this point. Anyway, Beerforce says many of the random dragons you meet briefly are backer cameos from Kickstarter, and Lorem and Ipsum are backer characters too. I assume that they paid a higher tier in order to be such important characters. Okay, I legit forget what happens here, so I'm going to kind of scan through this. Oh, right, we meet Maverick here. And he's like, I don't trust you. And I'm like, whatever, I don't know. What were we saying? What do you want from me? Answers. Okay, start talking. What is your goal in all this? Why even come here? You know why. I can only assume that one of these runs will ensure that Maverick ends with his full trust. Hopefully, this time travel shenanigans of memories leaching into multiple timelines thing, he does not remember that I wound up killing him. I would never do such a thing. Except I did wind up killing him, so I actually would do such a thing. I'm happily tempted to reload just so I could choose that option differently, but I'm not really going to worry about choosing different options since the game says I can just skip through. Why would an ambassador carry a gun? Because we did not know what to expect. I don't have one hidden somewhere, Maverick. I don't have a gun. I used Reza's gun against you. Maverick, of course, doesn't trust us. He also hates that we're given such special treatment. Before says, I think you have to say you would kill him if you're going for the evil ending. Yeah, not doing that. At the end of this, I want to try to get a good ending, as well as meet all those goals that I have acquired. So we're on our way back to the police station. Not going to tell anybody about what Maverick said, because I don't think it's threatening enough. Bryce is still out during the investigation. Before says, evil ending is referenced in the true ending, but not required for it. I would have to hope the evil ending isn't required for anything. Aside from achievements. On that note, this is definitely not going to be a 100% achievement run. Generally, I don't do 100% achievement runs. They're too easy to miss. I don't think Reese is going anywhere. Wonder what'll happen to the trade agreement. Well, in the end, the trade agreement isn't gonna matter, because the portal's gonna be messed with so that it can't even return me to my home timeline. Which is actually kind of a bummer, actually. Unless there's a way to restore the portal's original coordinates. That means I'm not going to be able to help humanity. I think Sebastian. I give him the stuff I found. Manage you found is something, alright. Of course, it could be anyone's, but why would someone discard theirs in a place like that? Seems suspicious to me, and it's certainly worth checking out. I'll make sure it gets to the right place. The receipts you got are interesting. There might be something more to them, or they could just be a useless record of his eating habits. You never know what you might find out about about a person, their habits, or their plans this way. Well done. Thanks for the help. I'm heading back home. And here's where I would have skipped to. So no, the next murder hasn't happened at this point. Instead, I want to meet with Lorem, as I said before. I notice I don't have the option of not doing anything. There you are. Come in. Looks like you've seen this before. Let's get to the end of this scene. I've only seen this scene once during my first run, so I kind of want to also go through this again, kind of remind myself of what happens. I think this is also when we meet Lorem's roommate for the first time. I also remember this being a long scene, so I'm going to definitely be doing a lot of skipping to get through it. Can't believe you agreed to do this again. It's my pleasure. Had a chance to work from everything, do some real work. I'm gonna do some modeling. Also, he's showing me pictures of mythical humans that he sketched out at the library. Some of them are really weird. That's okay. I wish humans looked like that. They go off screen automatically, by the way. So I can't actually spend time looking at them. Doesn't look very human to me. Supposedly one of our ancestors. Does remind me of some of the dragons I've seen here, but not sure what humans have to do with this. Myth about our creator turning into a dragon. Can confirm that didn't happen. But I have heard it. Some species of dragons are not compatible with each other. So possibly a shared dragon ancestor with human DNA involved. Take a far ancestor of ours and apply various amount of human DNA. The result would be a number of different species, each with a different amount of resemblance to humans. Interesting. Upright stance and being able to walk on two legs is a human trait? Right. One of the things that make humans unique. It's true. So, all sorts of talk about DNA, of how dragons have various amounts of shared DNA, some being more bipedal than other dragons, and some having thumbs, some more resembling humans than others. Like the waiter guy, Zong is definitely leaning heavily into the human scale. It kind of makes me wonder if the different species of dragons is in part because of different varying degrees of success with applying human DNA to dinosaurs. I don't know if it matters much whether I choose different options than I did my original run. Maddie says could be, or maybe by design of different dragons being designed for different things. Possibly. The gene splicing program was initially intended to breed bioweapons. Although thankfully the administrator decided to not actually go in that direction. Wouldn't want to live in the same town as this fellow. Not sure if that's much closer than the previous one. Was with the little horns. I want to ask about the little horns this time. Since we don't know what the original human looked like, we can't exactly define which traits separate us from them. As a result, our interpretations of humans can vary widely. So Beerfor says, as long as I'm not mean to Lorem, should be fine with whatever options I choose. Good to know. Not sure he's a particularly friendly one. Supposed to be a human female. Interesting. Don't think they're humans. Wait, what was that? Some that don't think humans are friendly at all. Right. We got Legends of Evil Humans as well. Oh boy, this is definitely a longer scene. We haven't even met Lorem's roommate yet. Okay. Human interference was unnatural and that we need to go back to our roots. Some people say that. How do they think they can do that? Refusing to use modern technology and living in caves or the wilderness again, like an animal. Most of us think these people are crazy though. As long as they aren't hurting anyone. They're harmless. Good to know. I assume we won't meet anybody like that anyway. What do you need me to do? Okay, here's where I get to stand up and pose. I don't know what a T-pose is because I apparently don't play video games. How ironic. Can I still talk? Don't talk with your arms. I make no promises. And here's Lorem's roommate. On this run, I'm definitely going to speak with him as a murder witness and see how that goes differently on this run. Now that we've actually met him here. So what was your name again? I wrote it down, but I know you're going to tell me, so I'm not going to look it up. Ipsum. That's right. So Ipsum is a scientist of sorts. As a hobbyist. Lorem's still drawing me. Something interesting happened at work. Talking with a colleague about the humans here, offhandedly mentioned that Erika was going to come over. Don't like where this is going. Some hours later, Anna barges into my office and says Erika is off limits to anyone besides her as far as tests and experiments are concerned. By this point, on my first run, I had already spent a couple days with Anna, so I don't think this is any different, regardless of whether I spend time with Anna or not. Oh yeah, that was something else that we skipped over during the opening areas. I gave my blood sample to Anna. I assume that is something we do towards getting a good ending, so that is why it allowed me to skip that. We're assuming that because I have my blood sample right here, that is something that we are already having done. And I did kind of agree to be her test subject. Oh, and Lorem, have you seen my Ixalan's Via recently? Didn't you take it with you when you went to the park the other day? Yes, I did. Well, that's the last time I saw it. I must have lost it then. I already searched the whole apartment. Did you go into my room? No. Maybe someone found it. I had it registered in my name when I got it, so if anyone found it, it should show up sooner or later. I remembered the spear that I had found in the park. I dug into my pocket to show it to them. Well, now I'm glad that I didn't skip this scene. As for the blood sample, Beaufort says the blood sample was used to get Bryce's good ending when you showed the results to Maverick. Ah, okay. And yeah, Kiba, Ipsum definitely has a kind of a Spyro look to him. Anyway, show the sphere. Wait a minute, are you talking about... Hey, no moving around! Quickly, I extended my arms again to make a perfect T-pose. Sorry, I just found something in the park recently that may or may not be in your Ixamen spear. One other thing I skipped over was looking at all the books where I learned what an Ixamen spear is. I wonder if that is canon to the skipping. Where is it? Probably in one of my pockets. At these words, Ipsum got up and walked over to me. So much for just sitting quietly in the corner and letting me work in peace. We're talking about a very expensive piece of equipment here. Just give it to him, Erika. I searched my pockets and looked for the spear to no avail. Huh. It's not here. Well, Beaufort said that we'd eventually give the spear to Lorem on the 4th date, so I was wondering why we weren't about to succeed at that here. So you don't have it after all? What kind of cruel joke are you playing here? I must have left it in my apartment. Yeah, let's not make a habit out of that, okay? What a shame. I could fetch it after we're done with this. It would be better if you just handed it to the police. After all, we don't even know if it is my spear that you found. Either way, the police should be able to verify it and locate its owner. Alright. What is an Ixamen spear anyway? Darn, I shouldn't have skipped all that opening. It's just a glorified toy for grown-ups, really. You have no idea what you're talking about. Ixamen spear is a very sophisticated tool with a countless number of uses. And we're back to the original conversation that happened. Levitate, follow you around, take photos. It's really cool. I sometimes actually imagined a device like that myself, way before playing this game. I can imagine that someday it'll be invented, if we can ever figure out how to make an anti-gravity device. Although I kind of wonder if an anti-gravity device is physically possible. Maddie says electromagnets. Sure, but how strong of a magnet would you have to make in order to work against the gravity of Earth? Maddie says we already kind of do with that with maglev trains. Okay, fair, but I'm thinking more along the lines of a device that could just work anywhere and just float everywhere. Kind of like hoverboards. Like actual hoverboards. The kind that is on wheels is not a hoverboard. I don't know why they called it that. Aside from taking advantage of the fact that we were in the year 2015. Before says there are actual hoverboards, but they only work over copper floors. Yeah, also those. At least that's more of a hoverboard than the wheeled kind. I remember Saturday Night Live actually making fun of those. It's like, yeah, we have hoverboards. They have wheels. Right. Not gonna take my photo to be sketching a model for Lorem's game. Better to be doing a live drawing, which is true. With a live drawing, you can walk around my body in order to figure out where all my curves are at. Oh yeah, good point, Kiba. There's also now hoverboards that are actually air-powered. Those are actually pretty cool. Also really expensive. So now I turn around. So gotta get a full look over of me. This is also when they realize about how I'm wearing pants. Sadly, I do not get to remove them. What are you talking about? Curious about your vestments. This would be more interesting if it wasn't for those clothes Erika is wearing. Really? I assume this option here, where I say coming here was a very bad idea. Oh, I can actually change my option this time? Well, I'm not choosing it. I assume that this would actually be a very bad option to choose. Or even, I see how it is. Hard to study an insect that there was a piece of cloth draped over it. And we decide not to remove my clothes because we want to have humans represented accurately in the game. Humans wear clothes, so they're gonna wear clothes in the game. So Ipsum works in a facility as a biologist with a minor in physics. Has his own setup at home. We also hear of there being occasional accidents of explodey type accidents. I still think it's kind of interesting about Ipsum's hobby. What was Lorem's other hobby? Tell me, remind me, I forget what it was. Flowers! Ipsum likes flowers. I don't know if that comes into play. Didn't come into play on my first run. Botany. So Lorem likes gardening. Ipsum has a tea collection. I don't think that comes into play. Though you never know. Maddie says, the thought of Lorem with a little flower garden is just adorable. Oh, I hope that is the pinup image that we get for getting Lorem's good ending. Oh, Ipsum spear being made that can make tea. Also, as a reminder, Lorem is a... Actually, I don't have to make that reminder. We'll relearn that on a future date. Unusual that Ipsum has hair. Not totally unusual, but not common. Both Ipsum and Lorem are a little on the smaller size, but they're used to it. Taking advantage of this apartment building made for one dragon, being small definitely has its advantages. Talking about how, as dragons, they just gotta find the right way to sit in a chair. Because these chairs were intended for humans, and dragons are not willing or even biologically capable of going against the human way. That is something we learned later on. Yeah. Dragons want to imitate humans, basically. Lorem is capable of breathing fire. Ipsum's breath weapon is electrocution since words are more powerful than anything else? Sure. Really? But staring at the wall was so much fun. Something dynamic. I'm gonna do the same pose that I did last time. What kind of pose do I go for? A swimwear pose. Draw me like one of your French girls. You don't have French girls. You don't even have France. Though it kind of makes me wonder, where on Pangea was France? What is Ipsum currently working on? Physics of teleportation. Oh, this is where we get the discussion about wormholes and the fabric of time. Buford says, some dragons do try to innovate, like Anna, which may or may not have something to do with the ministry and police being on her behind. You'll have to play her storyline to get the full picture. We'll do that eventually. So wormholes are the pillars of the space-time continuum. Like the universe is kind of like a torus, and wormholes are what tie the ends of the torus together. But going through portals rips at the seams of those wormholes, something like that. I don't know if that will actually be the case, but that's the theory that we're being told here. This right here is undoubtedly the longest date in the game. I mean, I'm glad I'm going through it again. Reminds myself of a few things. Also had that little bit with the Ixamen Spear. But this explanation also talks about how these multiple timelines might result in memories leaking between timelines, which is why I'm able to remember things later on in the adventure, despite me not experiencing them on this timeline. More wormhole talk with the Taurus. Hopefully, all these time travel shenanigans will not result in the end of the universe. That would be one heck of a true ending, but kind of a bummer. If the final ending is you lose, it would almost feel like I wasted my time. I doubt that'll happen, though. This game seems like it's really wanting me to work my way towards a good ending. So they're excited about the prospect of humanity coming to this world, and as well as the brain fart, the PDAs, what knowledge we have brought to this world in those PDAs. Anyway, definitely not a good idea to send a dragon to our world. At first I thought it was because people would freak out at dragons because of all the evil myths of dragons, but no, it's because our world, the human world, is kind of a fixer-upper right now. Almost done with the drawing. Shows it to Ipsum. Proportions are wrong. As somebody who really wants to get it back into arting, please don't get on me about proportions. I do not care. Hopefully I'll have some free time to get back into arting. Right now I'm kind of not having that free time because I'm re-recording that Odette playthrough for YouTube. And that takes a little bit of extra time since I'm not streaming it. It's a separate thing to record. Definitely worth re-recording though. Suddenly, alarm experiment is done. Thankfully, not in a way that blows up. Let me back up. Experiment is done. There he goes. Charming fellow, isn't he? He sounds fun. Certainly keeps things interesting around here. And he's a good art critic. Looks like we're done here. I so wish I could stay for dinner, but the game will not be giving me the option. I think the next date is the one where we go on the scavenger hunt. That was also kind of a long one. I don't know if there's anything significant that happens on that one that would possibly be changed by doing it again on this run, so I might actually skip over that date. Okay. Like I said, that was definitely a long date, even skipping through it, so I need a break. Be right back. Also, I'm glad you're enjoying the Odette playthrough, Beer Force. Yeah, Maddie, I do want to make sure Lorem doesn't drown during the scavenger hunt. But I'm pretty sure if I go on the scavenger hunt and the game gives me the option to skip over it, we're going to skip over the part where I successfully save him. So I don't think we have to witness me saving him, just as long as I actually do go meet up with him. Oh, you're right, Beer Force. Emira didn't have the option to meet with her during these options. Or if I was given the option, I didn't notice it. Hopefully I didn't accidentally miss it.